first flying car you can buy has landed in the US. And by you, I of course mean the insanely rich.
Flying cars might be taking off sooner than you think.
Honda CEO Toshihiro Mibe just announced the release of the company's first flying car that defies everything we never thought was possible. The company is not just unveiling a car, they're presenting something that seems almost like magic. And do you know the craziest part of it? It comes with the price of just $4,999. Yes, it's like a daydream, but this is actually real. What makes these cars so unique and different?
Modular flying vehicle, providing a revolutionary solution not only in the field of 2D, but also 3D transportation.
What does this mean for the future of the automotive world? Join us in this video as we share all the exciting details about these flying cars. The Honda flying car that is unlike any other. Imagine having a car you can drive straight up into the sky. This isn't a big, roaring jet. It is a sleek, fancy car with seats for you and your friends. Honda means real business about these flying cars. Other companies, including those in China, are already putting forward their own flying cars.
Chinese electric vehicle maker XPeng's flying car has made its first public flight, taken to the sky in Dubai.
But Honda's flying car is totally different from all of it. Like it really stands out. Let's get into how Honda made this dream a reality. With their years of experience in car manufacturing and even jet building, Honda is the only company that has both Federal Aviation Administration certification for the body and engine of an aircraft. Over the years, they have been focusing on aircraft, focusing on how they can come up with advanced technology. Successfully, they have really been progressive in doing this, and now they have stepped into the game of flying cars. What makes Honda's flying cars incredible and outstanding in the automotive market is its amazing capabilities and features, and at a very affordable price. What are these features? Keep watching as we get right into it.
We had a lot of confidence with the design, which basically led us to the designs that you're seeing now.
Now let's start with safety. That is obviously the first thing one should consider. The car is designed with 8 little rotors for taking off and landing, and 2 larger ones for keeping it moving once you're in the air. If one rotor has an issue, the others take over, to ensure you land smoothly and safely every time. They even have a unique hybrid power setup, something that runs on both electricity and gas. While other flying cars need to be recharged often, Honda's hybrid power means you can go much, much farther without stopping. While other electric flying cars can manage about 62 miles on a single charge, Honda's hybrid design lets you fly up to 250 miles. The engine's technology is borrowed from their experience in Formula One trademark racing.
High-speed generators from F1, battery and motor technology from its hybrid and electric cars.
So the power behind the rotors is strong and reliable, making sure this car flies fast and efficiently. And while it's powerful, it's also easy on the environment, which aligns with Honda's goal to create a cleaner, safer world where cars don't just move us, but actually make life better for everyone. Honda didn't stop at just making the car safe and eco-friendly. The design itself is incredible. It has a sleek shape and spacious windows. This will make passengers have a beautiful view from every angle. It also has a special place for your luggage, so your stuff is safe and secure, even when you're up in the air. It has room for a pilot and 4 passengers. This flying car is perfect for family trips or for giving friends an experience they'll never forget. What makes Honda's flying car stand out even more is that they're not just thinking about today, they're thinking about the future. Honda sees this as the first step in bringing us closer to a time when cars, flying and otherwise, won't just take us to new places, but will bring new possibilities. They're looking ahead to a time when we might be able to go further than just our cities and towns. They're aiming to create vehicles that could even venture into outer space one day. By using all the skills they've gained over the years in areas like electrification, robotics, and combustion, Honda is opening up a world of possibilities. Some companies from China, others from the United States, are also racing to get their flying cars off the ground.
San Mateo-based company Aleph Aeronautics announced that the Federal Aviation Administration has approved its Model A flying car, making it the first car approved for use of this nature in the U.S.
But Honda's model, with its carefully balanced design and robust hybrid engine, sets it apart from other flying cars. Many of these other flying car concepts rely solely on battery power, which limits their range. However, Honda's hybrid combines electric power with a small gas turbine to cover greater distances without worrying about charging every hour. While flying cars may sound wild today, Honda is working to make them as common as the car in your driveway. It's clear they're serious about changing how we think about travel, bringing us closer to a future where taking a flight in your own car is no different than starting your car for a grocery run. And with that $4,999 price tag, it almost seems like a dream, right? But Honda has found a way to make these flying cars affordable for people everywhere. It's as if they want to make the dream of flying, not just a luxury for a few, but a reality for everyone. This new step forward of cars will let us explore our world in ways we never could before. Of course, Honda is not the only company trying to make flying cars, but Honda's history of success and commitment to safety sets it apart. They're using all of their expertise from their work with robotics, hybrid cars, and even their experience with jets to create a car that doesn't just fly, but flies with style and confidence. But no matter how incredible these flying car details sound, there are also speculations generally about flying cars, and these speculations are just so hard to ignore. Stay tuned as we delve into it. Concerning speculations about flying cars sounds pretty exciting, right? For a long time, people have dreamed about flying cars, imagining what it would be like to escape the roads and see the world from above, just like a bird. But as incredible as this sounds, there are also concerning things to consider. Let's start with safety. Safety isn't just about technology and training, it's also about people feeling comfortable with the idea. For some people, the idea of flying cars is scary.
Before you're able to drive yourself, and then you get a license and you get out on the roads and you realize what a terrible idea this would actually be. Because the vast majority of people can't drive on the ground, let alone driving in the sky.
They worry about accidents or about something falling from the sky. This means flying car companies would have to work hard to gain people's trust and show them that these cars are safe. It's one thing for a car to break down on the road, but worse if it goes wrong up in the sky. One of the biggest questions is how these cars would actually fly. Cars are great at driving, and planes are great at flying, but putting the two together isn't so simple. Right now, flying cars like that of Honda, as mentioned earlier, use rotors that help lift the car into the air. For these rotors to work, they need a lot of power. But here's where the challenge comes in. Flying cars would need super strong batteries, or something similar, to give them enough energy. Batteries need to last a long time to make flying cars practical. After all, we don't want to be worrying about our car losing power while we're up in the sky. But with our current technology, batteries are only just getting powerful enough for regular electric cars. Making batteries that are light, last a long time, and can lift a car into the sky is not a simple thing. There's also the risk associated with pilots or drivers. While most people can drive a car on the road with ease, flying involves sailing through three-dimensional space, avoiding both buildings and other flying vehicles. Training requirements for operators of flying cars would likely need to be more strict than those for road vehicles, and there would need to be guidelines for emergencies. This level of training could limit the number of buyers who are interested in purchasing the car. And there's another issue to think about: the rules. Cars on the road follow rules, like stopping at red lights and driving on the right side. Flying cars would need their own set of rules, and they'd probably be a lot more complex than regular driving rules. Aviation authorities, which are the people in charge of making sure everything in the sky is safe.
The aviation system is governed by regulations. Just like the rules for driving on a road, regulations are necessary.
Would have to come up with these new rules. This would mean figuring out things like where flying cars can go, how high they can fly, and who gets to use them. Managing the airspace for flying cars is another issue. The current air traffic system is designed to handle a manageable number of planes with specific flight paths, destinations, and regulations. If hundreds or thousands of flying cars took to the air, the demand on air traffic control systems would multiply badly. Imagine the risks associated with congestion in the sky, where flying cars would share space with planes, helicopters, and drones. This eventually happening without a robust management system would be very chaotic and dangerous. The need for an organized airspace would mean creating new communication protocols, and possibly even technology that allows flying cars to automatically avoid each other. That will be like a smart driving system in the air. It's not even about individual concerns or new set rules that will come in place. Companies and our environment are to be considered as well. What would likely happen? You should know all about it. Sit tight as we share more. Unhealthy competition and environmental concerns about flying cars. Competition between companies trying to produce more of these flying cars has turned into something else. Each company has its unique approach, be it hybrid engines, vertical takeoff and landing technology, or specialized designs for urban environments. While competition usually drives innovation, it can also lead to shortcuts in the name of speed and profit. Some companies might rush their product to market to get ahead, and will end up neglecting safety standards, thorough testing, or environmental considerations. And again, the commercialization of flying cars could result in monopolies or exclusive partnerships, where only certain companies control large portions of the market. Pollution is another inevitable concern, and not just in terms of carbon emissions. Even electric-powered flying cars, which are heralded as cleaner, come with environmental baggage. Batteries involve in the extraction of rare minerals, harms ecosystems, and creates hazardous waste. Once these batteries reach the end of their lifespan, disposal or recycling becomes an issue, especially considering the high volume of batteries required to power flying vehicles. The amount of energy needed to charge and maintain an entire fleet of flying cars could also strain resources, and it will end up suppressing the environmental benefits that they aim to provide. Also, producing and maintaining flying cars could lead to material waste. If not managed carefully, flying cars will contribute to pollution badly. Flying cars will require a whole new set of skills. Unlike driving, flying demands a different level of awareness, including altitude, weather conditions, airspace, and emergency procedures. To ensure safety, serious training programs will be necessary, which will be time-consuming especially for a busy family man or woman, and might even be costly. And not to forget, the maintenance. Unlike road vehicles, flying cars would need regular and thorough maintenance to ensure all parts are functioning properly. In the air, even a small technical problem can have catastrophic consequences, as it's much harder to make an emergency landing compared to pulling over in a regular car. The cost of these maintenance will also make people reconsider purchasing these flying cars. All these challenges are hard to ignore, but the thought of owning a flying car is really exciting. Each problem from battery life, air traffic, noise, safety, or cost is basically like a puzzle that engineers, development team, and governments are working to solve. As they overcome all these hurdles, flying cars, especially the outstanding ones like the one produced by Honda, will change the world in ways we can barely imagine. Okay guys, that's a wrap for flying cars. For this reason alone, many companies and designers have made proposals on how the Tesla Semi can be transformed into a motorhome. Removable solar panels would be added to make it better, helping the vehicle to be more sustainable. It would have the same battery pack as the standard Semi, but would be charged more regularly thanks to the solar panels at work whenever the vehicle stops. If this happens, the concept would give a more quiet and smoother travel experience compared to traditional motorhomes that run on diesel. It would revolutionize road travel in the long run, and many people are in for it. But there's more. As stated earlier, this concept motorhome would outclass the Tesla Semi in design and functionality.
The Tesla Semi is an all-electric Class 8 heavy-duty truck and is created to address a vehicle segment that accounts for 18% of all vehicle emissions in the country, semi-trucks.
But while this is to be expected, a more detailed analysis tells us just how impressive this feat alone is. For context, the Tesla Semi has a full load capacity of over 80,000 pounds over a distance of 500 miles. The typical load of a motorhome is about 40,000 pounds, and without the extra weight associated with the base Semi, the range would surpass 600 miles, depending on weather conditions and the design of the finished product. With half the carrying capacity of the base Semi, the motorhome would no doubt last much longer on the road. Designers hope that the vehicle will be more streamlined to reduce air resistance and save more energy so the vehicle can reach even higher ranges of over 800 miles. It would have removable solar panels by design, made to help the Cybertruck harness solar energy while parked or not in use. This would be a great asset for campers and travelers, as the solar panels would ensure that there would be more energy to use without needing to rely on charging stations. Living conditions would be much better than anything expected in traditional motorhomes, with a spacious kitchen, bathroom, and lounge designed to prioritize comfort with efficiency. They plan to do this without compromise, transforming the Semi's cab and trailer into an ideal home anyone can put up with. To meet this standard, several appliances would be needed, and all of them would be powered by the same large battery that powers the drivetrain. Things like air conditioning, heating, entertainment systems, and kitchen appliances would be used in this vehicle, and with all of them relying on the large battery, there would be little need for external generators. There would be an electric motor that would keep the cyberhome as quiet as possible, which would make travelers feel at home on the fly. Adding to that the smooth acceleration and driving mechanics of an automated Tesla, we have a much more comfortable experience than what everyone is used to.
It means that we can really shove a lot of current in a very, very small place. So, for those that have worked and charged their cars on a V3 supercharger and the cable's nice and, maneuverable, it's the same thing here, but now we're just shoving a megawatt through it.
This new and improved Tesla Semi would have the most advanced driver assistance technologies, including the famous autopilot feature, which offers to drive the vehicle over long distances without needing any input from the driver. Navigating highways and rough plains would be a breeze, giving the driver the chance to enjoy the journey without focusing on driving. This, of course, would be a much more sustainable option compared to diesel vehicles. There would be zero tailpipe emissions, providing a much cleaner alternative with reduced after effects on the environment. This motorhome would have advanced charging capabilities similar to other Tesla vehicles, but knowing the company's tendencies to go behind expectations, don't be surprised if things get better than this. To keep up with the other products from Tesla's catalog, it would no doubt be able to do a lot of things typical Teslas do, and that included fast charging. Given the current trend with the company's products, the motorhome should be compatible with Tesla's supercharger network, known to achieve over 70% charge in about 30 minutes. It would also work with their special wall connectors that can be installed in homes. As of today, they can charge the Semi's battery with up to 44 miles of range per hour. This gives a full charge overnight, convenient enough to align with long trips that involve stopping at various places to rest at night. The options become more flexible with the use of a mobile connector, a tool capable of providing up to 30 miles of range per hour when connected to a standard outlet. The inbuilt solar panels of this machine would generate more power, and with Tesla Powerwall built in, there would be a lot of energy stored from the solar panels. This would ensure there is always a backup source of energy at all times, especially in remote locations. It is often said that home is where the heart is.
Here it is. We've got the Model Y over here, and you can see we're charging it right now with the wall connector. On this side of the garage, you can find the Tesla mobile connector that's connected to the 110 outlet.
With this in mind, the motorhome would most likely come with many options for customization. For a company known for thinking ahead, figuring this out shouldn't be difficult. Nobody would call it home if it doesn't rhyme with their tastes. For this reason, the motorhome would allow for different living arrangements depending on what the user wants from it. There would be options for extra sleeping space, entertainment areas, and more space for work. This wide array of options would ensure that the product appeals to a wide range of people, from close-knit families to introverted nomads. There would be a chance for everyone to enjoy feeling at home in the vehicle. But with all these features powered by a huge battery relying mostly on solar energy, comes a huge problem. This huge problem, as many can tell, is heat. For a company known for wrestling with thermal issues for almost a decade, how are they going to turn things around this time? Well, this is where it gets interesting. A cure for road anxiety. For about a decade, Tesla has struggled with thermal management issues, especially during its early years of production. Most of the issues had to do with keeping their cars cool enough while working as intended. Unlike mobile phones and PCs, premium cars are not expected to throttle when overheating. Doing so would lead to many accidents on the road. The company has had to wrestle with different methods of maintaining full operations while keeping the battery and other important components cool at all times. But it seemed things were only getting out of hand. The years from 2012 to 2015 were the most difficult for Tesla, with several reports of batteries growing weaker in very short amounts of time, especially in colder climates. While many thought overheating was the only cause of battery degradation,
Tesla drivers learned the hard way about how cold weather impacts their battery life. This was the scene this morning at a charging station near 95th and Western in Evergreen Park. Drivers say some of the stations weren't working, and those that were taking a lot longer to charge.
too many customers learned the hard way that both extreme temperatures caused the same problem. As a result, batteries aged faster than normal, and the consequences were staggering. For a better perspective, here is a great example. Imagine if you went on a long trip to a different state over 4 hours away from home. This travel required going through barren roads in remote places in the middle of nowhere. You left home with a full battery expected to last for at least 6 hours based on promises given by the manufacturer. But after just 2 hours of driving in the middle of nowhere, the battery suddenly gives up. There you are, stranded at a remote place with horrible network reception. You can't call anybody, and the nearest charging station for the car is at least an hour's drive away. That, of course, would be very frustrating. This was the problem many customers wrestled with, leading to what some would call range anxiety, a term used to describe how several Tesla owners struggled with predicting how long their batteries would last when planning for long journeys in remote areas. Since the vehicles cannot throttle on the road, Tesla's subsequent software updates focused on other means of managing heat. Knowing that overheating was a factor that aged the battery much faster, they resorted to reducing the charging speed whenever the car got very warm. As we all know, fast charging increases temperature, so a good way of managing that problem was to reduce charging speeds when many crucial parts of the car become hot. While this had a positive effect in keeping batteries functioning for much longer, many customers complained that such measures contradicted the reasons why they bought the product in the first place. Things would sometimes get so bad that there were significant charging errors and glitches, as the product was built initially for fast charging at all times. This brought in a huge backlash from many fans, customers, and reviewers. But it only got worse from there.
Oh, we got a bunch of dead robots out here.
Dead robots. Dead Teslas packed the parking lot at this Tesla supercharging station in Oak Brook.
Perhaps 2019 was the worst year for Tesla in this regard, with Model S vehicles getting caught on fire as their batteries exploded. One of these incidents occurred on April 1st, 2019, when a Model S caught fire while parked in a garage in Shanghai. What made it most frightening was that the footage showed the car bursting into flames on its own, with nothing external causing it. This was on the heels of another incident that had occurred on February 8 of that same year, when another Tesla S unit exploded in a garage, this time in Pittsburgh, USA.
Tesla says that it has sent a team to investigate a video that appears to show the explosion of one of its cars parked in a garage in China.
With the growing bad press the company had to deal with, many thought there would be no reported indents anytime soon. But it was barely a month after the Shanghai incident when another Model S exploded at a local parking lot in Hong Kong. At this point, things were becoming concerning, even though these were a few terminal cases among millions. For each of these incidents, Tesla went hard at work to examine the possible causes and released updates to eliminate the issue. Following an official statement released on their official website, the next few years were less eventful. It seemed like the company had eliminated the problem for good. But on September 15, 2024, another Tesla vehicle caught fire while charging at a supercharging station in Pennsylvania. The firemen had a hard time with this one, as it took over 3 hours to put out the fire completely thanks to the special fires from the batteries known for reigniting multiple times before giving out. This caused many people to think that the issues only get worse whenever Tesla promises new technologies in their products. But let's assume that all the heat issues have been fixed completely. There are other reasons to doubt the validity of this product, particularly the pricing. If the rumors are true, then this new product would launch at less than $90,000. Considering how much this machine can do, would they launch it at such a low price? How would they cut costs to make it work? Let's find out. So much for so cheap. For a product that promises so much, $90,000 sounds so little to make up for it. For a better perspective, classic budget motorhomes cost from $50,000 to $70,000, often focusing only on what the person needs without adding any advanced looks and features. Taking a step up the ladder would range from $100,000 to $200,000, as mid-range motorhomes have more living space with better materials for the kitchens and bathrooms. But let's assume you want to go pro, with features that sit roughly with features often associated with Tesla's most popular products. The cheapest in this class would cost at least $250,000 to over $500,000, as these luxury motorhomes give high-quality materials and advanced technologies. But here is the funny part. Most of them don't come with the futuristic technologies this vehicle promises to come with. Simple logic dictates that a Tesla Cyberhome would cost a bit more than luxurious motorhomes, as it has both what they usually offer and very much more. This makes the rumored $90,000 price too good to be true. Advanced features like smartphone integration, solar harvesting, and smart home integration make this Cyberhome stand out from budget and standard motorhomes, putting it on par with the most expensive motorhomes sold on the market. Keep in mind that eco-friendly solutions to most carbon-emitting problems usually cost a lot of money, and nothing in the leaked reports apart from the strange pricing indicates that this Cyberhome is an exception. Also, keep in mind that the Tesla brand at this point is well known for putting out premium products at a premium price, something that would be odd if Tesla decides to produce so much for so cheap. But if these rumors are true as well, then it's safe to say that Tesla would employ several cost-cutting measures that prioritize what it promised over meaningless premium factors. How are they going to do this, you ask? Let's investigate. To pull this off, Tesla would have to cut corners in many ways. But most importantly, the Chinese Gigafactory would take the bold risk of producing the motorhome at a much larger scale than they have for previous vehicles and products. This has to be done to leverage economies of scale, as manufacturing products in smaller batches would cost more money in the long run. Also, instead of going for parts specifically made for the new model, they could use technologies from existing models that are performing very well, like the Model 3 and the Semi. This would not only save cost, but also time, making the process less complicated overall. Secondly, Tesla would have to go for an easily customizable design. This means that many parts would be easily changed to suit the driver's needs, an approach that would not only limit the time of production, but the money needed to keep things going. They might have to keep the number of configurations within limits, as making the vehicle too customizable would only make things more expensive. Thirdly, even though the Chinese Gigafactory is known for leveraging more technologies geared towards getting things done in a short amount of time, they would have to think of more efficient ways that would reduce production costs. With an automated estimate of 95%, they would still have to rely even more on robotic manufacturing to improve consistency while reducing cost. Now let's talk about the materials they would need to build up this machine. Here is how they will do it. Now, of course, they won't have to build everything from the ground up. After all, this Cyberhome is based on the already existing Tesla Semi. All they would have to do is make use of cheaper materials that are still durable, like aluminium and advanced composites. This would not only require less money, but would reduce the energy consumption required for production. Of course, the Chinese factory won't have to do everything on its own, as they could outsource certain tasks to smaller trusted factories outside Tesla that are willing to produce the cheap materials at very affordable prices. These prices would most likely be cheaper than what Tesla would spend while using their factory, as the smaller companies would use much less power and resources to produce the materials than the large Gigafactory. Forming these strategic partnerships with smaller factories would help both companies in many ways, forming a long-lasting symbiotic relationship between both parties. But let's assume Tesla decides to do things on their own. would they still be able to sell at such a cheap price? Well, they could source materials locally to reduce transportation costs while committing to protecting the environment. While the addition of solar panels adds to the cost, they would be great investments in the long run. Tesla could use this to their advantage, as they would no longer need to use the same large battery used to operate the Semi. A smaller battery could be built in without compromising on a lot of things, as the solar panels would always be at work to keep it charged at all times, always generating power on the go. Add this to Tesla's amazing Powerwall technology, and we have a more effective way of managing energy than just having a large battery. On top of that, Tesla would have to adopt an online sales model to make this work. This means they would be selling their products directly to customers through Tesla's online platforms. There will be no dealerships, no middlemen, and no added costs. Just the company delivering their products directly to customers at a much cheaper price. Things would be less complicated, improving customer services by a long shot. But even with these cut corners, it still seems unlikely that Tesla would be able to sell their products at such a low price. Perhaps they have another ace up their sleeve, deciding to sell the product at a loss while making huge profits from other means. It is possible. After all, other corporations like Sony and Microsoft use this strategy through their video game consoles. For example, the Xbox 360, PlayStation 4, and the PlayStation 5 all sold at a loss to make the product more accessible to everyone. The Xbox 360, released in 2005, sold at a loss for 4 years and finally turned a huge profit by the 5th year. The PlayStation 4 in 2013 went harder by making its product up to $100 cheaper than the competition. Thanks to this decision, their console turned a profit from the very start, as many customers used their spare money to buy lots of games that made up for the loss. The PlayStation 5 followed the same strategy in 2020, selling millions of units while making more money from their huge catalog of software. Maybe Tesla has this type of strategy in mind, selling their cyberhome very cheap while turning a profit through other services aimed at making the product even more enjoyable than anything promised before. To make this work, the company would have to think of many things the customers would want along with their cyberhome, things that would make the experience much richer than anticipated. We can only hope Tesla doesn't make the wrong decision by stripping off the things that were rumored to come with the product and putting them behind a paywall. That, of course, would be a recipe for disaster. But for now, it is important to note that this product is still in the concept stages. While the alleged leaks and reports are exciting to think about, nothing has been officially confirmed by Tesla. Until that happens, we just have to keep our fingers crossed and hope for the best. So, what do you think? Are the reports true? Would Tesla be able to pull this off? Let us know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Also, click the next video shown on your screen. You will enjoy it.